Hello and welcome to one of my first episodes for Weekend Warrior. Today we delve into the fascinating world of modeling through the lens of our guest, Violet. How do you say your last name, by the way?
It's Deardorff, like you're writing a letter to a dwarf.
Okay, Deardorff. Is so is, I mean, please excuse me, but is that German or is it, what
It is. No,
it is?
you're so right. It is German.
Okay, cool. I feel smart now. Uh, but
Good.
anyway, it's good to see you again. I hadn't seen you since. I think maybe fleetingly in through the halls at Shutterfest. But that was that was for me. It was chaotic because that was my first time speaking or teaching, and my mind was completely on that and really nothing else. So, but I was so happy when it was over. Oh, I think I may have lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Um, I think it's probably very nerve-wracking to teach for the first time. I've heard that from a few teachers, and I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I chose photography to stay behind the camera, not be in front of it, really. So, but it's these little things right here that I'm trying to like get a little bit better to be in front of the camera. But
Yeah, I love.
I
Yeah.
really wanted to, a lot of photographers, especially when they do like videos like this, um, I don't see a lot actually interview models, and I think that's kind of, you know, not cool because you guys, you make the images. I mean, we help, a little bit, but you guys really make a lot of the images for us and make them beautiful, um and we really don't hear a lot from the models. So I thought it'd be cool.
Yeah, we're getting left out.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it would just be cool to kind of like talk about the modeling and what's involved and um, how you got started. Let's just start there. Like how did you get started, and about when did that happen for you?
Yeah, so I started out in Los Angeles. I was in LA working when COVID hit,
Mm,
and I lost my job, and that was a big bummer, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But someone offered me a modeling job, and I said yes. And I was like, I'll go try it out, give it a whirl, and I loved it. It was so fun. I got hair and makeup done for the first time, and it was just so fun to go sit in front of a camera and just play around and
yeah,
see what we could do. Um, and it had never really been something I assumed I would do. I mean, I always thought I was way too short for that, and also just not, I never thought it would be my lifestyle,
yeah.
but it kind of makes sense. I grew up in the musical theater world,
Okay.
which kind of, is a performing world.
Yeah.
I feel like modeling's very similar to that. I mean, you don't have the singing and you don't have to memorize dialogue, but learning how to hold yourself in front of a camera and make yourself look presentable is definitely still performing, and
Yeah.
it's really fun in that way. I really like it.
Cool.
Yeah. So then I moved to St. Louis and just continued. I joined some Facebook modeling groups, which I would not recommend. um, but then you get information and you find things like Shutterfest and other photographers that you love working with. And once you get in the community, it's just you can't really stop.
Nice. So, when was your first year at Shutterfest?
My first year was 2021. I
2021.
believe I don't know if they actually held one in 2020. Um, yeah, otherwise I probably would have gone.
Yeah.
But as I knew it existed, I was there.
I think that may have been my first one I went to. I think.
Really? Yeah.
Um, so it was that the one that was. It was basically it was during COVID or whatever, but it was like also just a smaller crew, or it was,
Hmm.
yeah, that was the one I went to. So,
Yeah, and it was
um,
like halfway through. It was a different time of the year too,
yeah, yeah, it
and
was.
held at another time. And I was like, okay, well, let's go.
Yeah. So, so you talked about sort of acting and whatnot, and I think that's really important because modeling, how you hold yourself, it is it's a skill set, and it's more like acting. So,
Oh, yeah.
can you elaborate on how you sort of, does it come more natural to you, or have you studied things, or have you taken classes, or how did you? Is it instinct, or is it something else?
I think for each person it's probably different. For me, growing up doing the musical theater and doing all of that, I definitely did know how to stand in front of a camera, but learning poses and learning different the ways you look best, because there's definitely a standard way you can pose people. Like, you can pose a couple one way and you can pose a model one way, but there is a specific way that some people look good versus others. I mean, some people have wider jawlines, some people have thinner jawlines. I have a really skinny jawline, I found out. And that's great for things like hard light, but things like soft light, I don't always love the images. So it really just kind of depends on how much practice I think you get. And I have definitely studied. I mean, and I've got favorite models. Coco Rocha is my all-time favorite. I look up to her so much. Um, but yeah, I think it just is a combination of everything.
Right. So, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not, but like, well, it's so me growing up. My parents, they had a huge library basically out in my hallway, like right outside my bedroom, and so they had just books galore. And I remember like an encyclopedia of photography, and most everything in there was black and white, but there was some color images. But we're talking like you know books that were probably made in the, I don't know, maybe the 80s. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, I used to just sit there and look through them, and I think doing that. And this is before the internet, so like I had no internet. That was
Yeah.
before the internet. So, talk about being bored all the time. But anyway, I found stuff to do. But but looking through those, and just you're building, and I can imagine it's just compounded today. But you're building your eye to be able to see,
Yeah.
and especially when you're looking at photography from professional photographers. Um, I think you really, like, you just have to absorb and try to, but then try to mimic that as well. The one thing that I find really really interesting, and like I think when I first started shooting you at Shutterfest, the one thing I just noticed about you right away was like, oh my God, she knows how to hold her hands. It's not just a hand, but it's like the wrist, the hand, the fingers, every little, little tendon, ligament. It was just, you were very careful, and I'm just curious, like for that, for instance, is that just instinct as well? Is that something you just kind of like?
No,
No.
that one, that one I actually have to attribute to Sal Sincata.
Okay.
I I did not know that. I did not. Well,
I
I
hear
think
him.
naturally.
I hear him say cupping an egg sometimes. He'll say that,
Yeah,
cup an
you'll
egg.
hear that. Hear play with your ring. I've always heard that if you pretend to play with one of your rings, that
Yeah.
can work. Um, but yeah, the very first time I shot with Sal, he went in on me on it. He tore me a new one. Was, your hands are not looking great, and I was like, okay, and I took that note and I ran with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at billboards in like shops.
Yeah.
If you're in Target and you look around on the ceilings and everything,
Sure.
there's models everywhere,
Yeah.
and you can see how they're holding themselves. And now that I've learned some, now I go to Target and I sometimes see things. I'm like, that how'd that make the ad? But I think it definitely takes a lot of practice and a lot of learning what looks good
Sure.
because I definitely did not know that one to begin with.
I think it also has to. You have to sort of. It's sort of odd to say this, but you almost have to have sort of an outer body, almost like an outer body experience, because you got to have this sort of idea of spatially where you're at compared to where the camera is, what it's seeing, and so you can get like maybe 80-90% of the way there, but then you got to kind of rely on the photographer to kind of like direct you a little bit the rest of the way. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think spatial awareness is necessary for it. I was also a competitive gymnast, and so there's I have had to hold my body in very specific positions for long periods of time, and so you do learn how your body looks a specific way. I mean, especially if you're flipping upside down in the air, you have to have your toes pointed. You have to be pretty aware of your body, and
Wow.
so I definitely that that definitely plays into it. Yeah.
So I feel really like lucky that I haven't had to go through all that. So there's no boot camp for photographers. Yeah, as you could tell, we're all in good shape, right? Um, so
I can tell. I can tell.
yeah. So you're talking about like some people look better. Well, I keep all this hair on me so you can't see my neck. So, but one thing I will point out, which I think is kind of cool. I'm gonna see if I can't. I'm going to share my screen, and
Oh, okay.
I'll so you can maybe see it as well. So there's screen. This one. Share.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see the? I'm on the internet right now. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy created this website, and I'm not exactly sure like when he did this, but um, he's he's a really interesting guy. I watched a lot of his YouTube stuff, and this is his website. I also have a membership to it. I'm not logged in because I don't want to like show something that I may not be allowed to show because you have to have a membership.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Annie Leibovitz, I could probably only say that one time, right? But but he does breakdowns on her stuff, and it's really interesting. Like I even one of these I looked up on YouTube, and there's like a behind the scenes of this
Oh, I
actual
love that.
shoot, and
Yeah.
I think they do like one, maybe two people at a time, could be three people at a time that they um, pose and shoot this whole scene, but
Oh,
but he breaks it down, basically how the edits are done, um, but also how the posing is done, and it's really methodically thought out, in planned way in advance. And
sure. Yeah. Of
so
course.
anyway, there's a thing called grids, and grids were made basically by old master painters a long time ago. And so like just to kind of give you an idea, like a king or a queen would be like, okay, this huge wall that we have, we want to put a painting on there. So they didn't just go up there and start painting. They would make lines, and what they would do is they would measure. They would measure, and they would make little marks, and then from that math, they would join these marks to another mark, and create all these lines, and basically it's a grid. And so what they were doing is they use this grid to create rhythm in the painting, and um, to create a more pleasing image for the eye. And so there's a lot of psychology behind this, and it's really interesting. But like this line right here, this one that goes from like bottom right to top left. This is called the sinister line, and I think this one right here. These are like major diagonals, but this one right here I think is like the baroque. I think I'm not real completely sure, but anyway, anything that's on the sinister line, usually if you see a lot of horror movies or images of like back way back when the master painter days when they would depict Satan or something bad, usually the the subject, either the body or would be real close to this line, it would be matching the angle of this line. And so, anyway, as far as modeling goes, looking at this work right here and how he breaks things down, I think it really helps to kind of, well, for photographers for one, to create a masterpiece. Because like I was saying, like
Mhm.
we look at imagery all the time, and sometimes an image sticks out, and you're like, "Wow, that looks like freaking awesome." I don't know why. Well, this is sort of explaining the why,
Yeah.
and so once you start to understand the why, then you can start to manipulate and control it, right?
Hmm.
So anyway, this is a website I just wanted to like point out. Um,
I love.
and yeah, and she does this like on all of her major um, shots where she adds a lot of people in the mix um,
Sure.
to
Yeah.
create eye movement and rhythm and but not but also to keep things not stagnant. So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's hard. Posing groups, especially, is really hard, and you have to have connection between the people. That's the biggest mistake I think I see is not connecting the people. You'll have someone sitting down and then someone sitting right next to them,
yeah,
um, and touch his leg, do
yeah,
something.
yeah,
You
exactly,
need connection, and I think we miss that in a lot of photos, especially in the
true,
amateur photography community.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I think that's the other thing is like the old masters when they would use the grids, the lines that they would create, they would pose somebody like either their arms, or the bright areas. They would pose their
Hmm.
arms within, to meet a certain angle, but they would only
Oh yeah.
do that so many times, like 5 to 7 times within the whole picture, because
Yeah.
it's like creating rhythm in music. So it's visually creating rhythm. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that but if you're able to put multiple people in a scene, you can connect one person to another even without the touching. You could do that
Oh,
with using the grids. If you do it right, you're kind of like somebody's pointing, towards than somebody else, and
yeah.
but yeah, I thought that was just really interesting and one thing good for models to maybe look at as far as like
Oh,
posing, because his website's full of other stuff as far as like just single people in an image, and he breaks down their
your
poses.
body shape.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
see, like what I do is I'll actually use a grid. I'll overlay it in Photoshop over top of an image, and I'll crop my image to fit that so that things line up. I know
Yeah.
it's kind of weird, but it works.
Yeah.
But but anyway, yeah. Another thing, I'm gonna share my screen again. Um, let's see. So this was our shot that we did. This was I was playing around with some like lens filters and some optics and stuff, and this was one of the images that it won third place during the photo comp. Um, I can't remember what her name was. Maybe you remember her class, but uh,
Jennifer Rutledge
yes,
for
yes,
this.
she does really awesome work. But I loved her class. It was sort of like almost like avant-garde, sort of.
Yeah. Very,
Just
very.
just pile a bunch of stuff on somebody and voila, But
Yeah.
I was kind of like I really wish that I could hear why they when they critiqued this image or like why they actually chose this particular one. Um, I don't know. I felt like there were others that I had that were possibly better, but maybe I don't know. I mean, it was it was good. I mean, I guess I did enough of the Rembrandt right there on the cheek, and but I think I probably annoyed a lot of the people in line because they were like, "Come on, man, hurry up!" But I was off to the side trying to like get a lot of shots, and because everybody was basically taken from the same angle, so I was trying to move around.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
our
I
first
like
experience
that
together.
shot. No, I love that shot. I think I don't know why I never know why they pick what they pick. I do know that they are technical people, so I'm sure you did great technically, and that's what it was. But beyond that, I all I can say is I do love that image. I think it was great.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So I get the Facebook algorithm gods must be they've been filling my feed with your face like all the time now. So like it pops up quite often. Um,
Really?
yeah, the I think the Sal Sincata photos here recently were pretty banger. Those were like I guess when I think of like magazine quality and well just magazine or beyond that those were pretty impactful. So can you talk about that at all, or is
Well, thank you. That's very kind. If you're talking about the New York City
yeah
workshop with Nan images, yeah, I I I love them. It was an incredible experience. The whole workshop was great. I mean, the building was filled with lights already set up, so we didn't
wow
have to do all that much work, which was great. And the sets that they had were awesome. So we really just could show up and work, which was great. But I mean, I've been working with Sal and Alyssa for a while now, and
yeah
I think we're getting into that groove where
yeah
we kind of understand the way each other work. And I think that's really helped a lot. I mean, we can communicate very quickly, which
sure
is helpful for us. Yeah. And so I think just all the time we've spent shooting is finally paying off, which
yeah
is nice.
yeah no
Yeah.
it's yeah I it's amazing though that you started in freaking like 2021 and you're like you've progressed like so fast now I could understand that your previous you know being in dance and other things has helped. But damn, I mean, you've progressed so fast and you've gotten so good, like in such a short period of time. It's pretty amazing. So, um, I I mean, I guess you learn and you pivot and but what are your future plans? Are you just kind of like just gonna keep? Are you trying to get in with any kind of agencies or anything like that?
Well, thank you once again. That was very, very kind. Right now, I am not looking at an agency. I've tried in the past, and I've been with an agency in the past, and I found that it really limited the things that I could do and could accept doing.
Sure.
Um, there's also, I mean, I've got numerous stories from other models that they love working with one photographer, and then they join their agency, and the photographer would then have to pay thousands of dollars to work with them, and
Wow.
it's like I would like to have that freedom for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not saying it's something I would never do. I mean, I would love to be an agency model one day, but right now I'm very happy where I am.
Yeah. I don't like rules. So,
Ah,
I failed art class. Like, I mean, I was an artist growing up, and like, so, so I would paint and I would draw, but an art teacher would be like, "Do this," and I'd be like, "I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do what I want to do," and
yeah,
I would turn in art, and it would be beautiful, but I'd get a bad grade. So, but yeah,
not what you were supposed to do. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I've always been like, art has no bounds, and so I don't like rules. I don't like entering
Yeah.
competitions either, just because I you know it's
You have to follow the rules.
yeah well yeah either you follow rules but or you're trying to follow somebody else's rules. You know what I mean? Like if I was going to go into it logically, I would I would research every like whoever the judges are. I would almost like research every one of their like who they admire, who what
Mhm.
works they like, what they produce,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
try to mimic their stuff or whatever. But I don't, I don't like,
I can do
and
that.
so like, but a judge too to me is like it's based on their experience, and
Sure.
if you're 20 years old and a judge, what kind of experience have you really had? If you're,
Yeah.
50, 60, 70 years old, okay, maybe you've got, but then I'm starting like to question, well, what art school did you go to? Or I just don't want people to negate the art of it. And so like, for instance, like there's a lot of famous photographers that I would look at books and magazines, and I am a big book and magazine collector, by the way, because that's how I gain a lot of inspiration. But you'll see just weird imagery that's just like a whole rectangular image, and there's like a head, like half of a head right here, right, and it's just that's it,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting crop, and it's like nothing else around, but it's like
Yeah.
you turn that in, to most competitions, and they're gonna be like, "Did your kid get a hold of your camera?" And no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but a lot of interesting photographers would do crazy stuff, unorthodox stuff, and I just feel like there's art there, and I'd hate to just trying to turn something into a competition only to get knocked down because it doesn't fit within the realm of whatever they think it's supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I don't like competitions very much. Get specific, you know what I mean? Like there's certain competitions that I think are too broad in terms. Like if a lot of us at Shutterfest, well, a few of us, we do composites. We do the compositing stuff, and so to me, it's like if you're going to do a competition, maybe don't allow composites. Maybe have another competition just set up for composites. You know what I mean? Things
Yeah.
like that. Like if it's a black and
Yeah.
white, just do black and white. Or,
Yeah.
but
It's hard to compare them.
yeah,
They're very different. Yeah.
but but yeah. So the last image that we the last image that we did together, I will say I'm going to share my screen again. I think was this one, right in
Hmm.
front of Union Station,
Yeah.
and we had like 10 minutes, I think, or less.
Less, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, you had somewhere you
Quick.
had to be like ASAP, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was rushing.
It, it was very quick,
It was hot
but I
outside
think
too, I believe.
it was worth it though.
Yep, because then we were able to capture that. So,
Yeah. And
um,
I love that. I mean, it's in this room on the wall.
nice. So
So
like
I love it.
I don't know if you could tell, like you weren't in this pose. You were over a little bit more to the side over
Yeah.
here. But the
Yeah.
shadow that fell on this pole, I actually kind of captured some of it to be able to cast it
Is
onto
that what you do?
the building. Now I had to
That's
recreate.
awesome.
Thank you. I did have to kind of recreate some shadowing on the ground with the heel and the feet and leg and everything. But um, which, by the way, when you're trying to like recreate shadows and going across like a car, or that's just like some kind of quantum realm that my brain starts to break. Like I can't figure out how to freaking warp a shadow to like fall right. It's just horrible. But I waited like, so once we got done, I rushed, like I wanted, because I had to have the same lighting, so I couldn't shoot it later. I had to do it really really fast so that the composite would be perfect. So I had to like go down the block. I don't know how many blocks I walked, but it was hot as hell, and so I got down there, and I started shooting this scene, and I noticed this bus was at the light, and I was like, I'm gonna wait till that bus goes across, and I'm gonna capture it right in there. And so that's what I did, because I wanted to use the bus to sort of kind of break up, to kind of like look like you're really into the scene, because I wanted your foot to be behind it. So I wanted to have some sort of separation there, but and realism, but also a chance to. And I already, when I was taking this, I was already thinking I'm going to change that advertisement and I'm going to put something on there. So I did that with the Sincata Boulevard too, up here. Change that out.
Yes, I love it. And the street sign.
Yeah, and then it's funny because people actually got to, they start pointing out, oh my god, look at the bus, oh my god, and then they would say, oh look at the sign. So they were finding little Easter eggs here and there, which is fun to
Yeah,
do.
I love it. It's such a fun image. And I mean, beyond that, the the photography before it was incredible. And I love it. I just think it's so cool, the expanded image. I
Appreciate it.
It's my favorite. Great.
So
Yeah.
you have that picture hanging up, huh?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Nice. Well, so yeah, so I think last Shutterfest, I really didn't get a chance to shoot a whole lot. Uh, Also, kind of like I always overpack. Like I'm always like bringing way too much gear, and so like
Oh
my arm, I work at I work a desk job for the most part, so I'm not like, and I don't go to the gym and work out and
yeah.
everything. But like I will literally hurt myself if there's like a photo shot or a shoot somewhere and I've got to walk a mile pulling gear. I'll do it, but I'll hurt myself.
I know you will. I know you will. I've seen it myself.
But like,
Well, that shoot alone, the one you just showed, I know you had to run a mile with your gear because we shot down in front of Union Station and then you had to go get that shot of the town.
yeah, yeah,
And that was not a close walk for you in, if I
no,
remember, 105-degree heat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something happened when I was carrying my case. I was carrying it with my right arm, and I was carrying my case, and I don't know what happened, but like, there's like something in here that's like it's damaged. I don't know what, but it will not heal, and it's painful. But soon after Shutterfest, I had a job that I was supposed to do in Las Vegas, and this job I was actually I was actually going to be carrying more gear, and so I like inflamed it even more, and it's just
Oh,
I don't think I'm ever going to heal. It'll probably be hurting for a while,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
I am also a crossover packer, if it makes you feel any better.
yeah,
I have to have anything, especially for shoots. I overpack
yeah.
100% of the time.
Well, you just never know. You never, if you don't take it, you'll need it.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it's good to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Right. So, let me ask you a question for aspiring other models.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you look for other photographers to shoot with, and safe photographers at that? Because there's a lot of creepy guys out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I love number one, the first thing I use is Caviar. Um, it's my favorite website to find photographers or other models. But on top of that, you have to always do your research.
Yeah. Oh, I might be losing you.
You should always be checking with models they've shot with before. They have oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
See?
Yeah, I know you got the fan on, cooling the phone down. But
Yeah.
so you were saying that you check with other models that they've worked with.
Yes, always. That's my go-to. for model safety is if I'm working with someone new, I will find a model they've worked with before and make sure it's someone that they trust, or if not, if they didn't have a great experience, then, I'd love to know that information beforehand.
For sure. Yeah.
I think, but yes, I use other things. I mean, Instagram is a huge proponent of finding photographers for me, especially being in the model community and seeing photographers that other models work with that I like their work, especially that I can easily figure out if they're safe or not to work with. Um, so Instagram's also super huge for me. I love it.
Okay. Um, I guess I have. There was. I mean, you can go like we were talking about agencies. There was a girl here locally that I knew. Um, she was modeling like when she was in high school, and before she got out, before she graduated, she had a contract with a agency out of New York, and she's done really 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 well. But I'm sure that that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, it's very true. It doesn't happen every day. And there uh, there are some agencies I would love to work for, and there are some I'm shooting towards. A lot of the agencies, or some of the agencies within my means right now, I don't have interest working in.
Sure. So do you do any networking yourself, or is it all just online through social media?
Through social media mostly. Yeah, I'll reach out through Instagram. I'll shoot someone a DM, either just asking if they're interested to work with me or if they would ever need someone for a job. Just, I would love to be interested or, you know, thought of.
Okay. So I guess when you meet someone that you like working with, let's just say Sal, for instance. Uh, so how do you guys work together? Is there a lot of planning involved and a lot of concepts passed back and forth? How do you guys? I guess the thing is how do you guys plan a shoot, and then how does it come to
Yeah.
be?
Well, if we're talking specifically Sal, I don't get much planning. I don't
Okay,
get any plan. Yeah, I show up day of and we figure out what we're doing. Um, but we have ways that we work. They always have a specific wardrobe. I mean, they know my size, so they provide wardrobe, they provide shoes. Sometimes I have to bring nude black shoes and sometimes a nude bra, but that's all I typically have to bring. I mean, everything is provided by them. And hair and makeup is always with Brandi, and she's absolutely incredible. Brandi, if from Refined Beauty, if you don't know her, she's awesome. Uh, and she's always there, hair and makeup artist. And so I show up, Brandi will have the idea in her phone and she'll make it happen on my face. And then they'll tell me what we're doing and we'll do it.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Sal saying before that he likes spontaneity. He likes to he said he doesn't like going to a wedding venue ahead of time, but to see the place that would freak me out because I'm always about trying to plan and at least have some idea. But also I understand his take on it too. It's like for the creative juices to start flowing and just wing it. That could spur some really creative moments. And so I think
Yeah.
for him it's that's sort of what gets his tractor running. It's sort of like the spontaneity of the
Yeah.
situation. You don't know where you're or what you're going to be doing, but you just show up and you just start making it happen, right?
Yeah.
So
And that is very different from other photographers I've worked with too. Most photographers want to have every detail
yeah,
known and planned out. But I I do think once you work with someone so much, you kind of get into that groove. I have that similar feeling with Jeremy Braggs. We've been working together since I moved. I'm so sorry. since I moved to St. Louis. And so when we work with him, I don't really feel the need to know much going into it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I really love just knowing the photographer beforehand and just, getting into those grooves where you can just, what to expect from the shoot. You know what the photographer wants, and the photographer knows how you like to be treated,
Sure.
and it goes well. Yeah.
So I'll lead off with two more. Well, not really two more questions. Sort of one with two answers.
Sure.
What was your most exciting shoot ever, and what was your worst shoot ever? And what did you learn and come away with both of those situations?
Oh man. Okay. That's a tough question. I mean, I've had some exciting things happen recently, so I don't even know where to start. I did just go to New York for the first time, so
Yeah,
that was
that's
absolutely incredible.
definitely on the
It was
top of the list, right?
yeah, definitely up there, but I'm going to Ireland and Scotland later in the year
Okay.
for a modeling job, so I'm very excited about that. I think that's going to be the most exciting I've done before.
Okay.
Um, my worst shoot. I can't really think of any that were that bad.
Just trying
I
to protect
mean,
the photographer. I hear you.
yeah,
You don't
I
have to
can't really
mention their name.
hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Sure.
There have been a few where I've had my face covered in things,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm not obsessed with that. And like sometimes I love it. Like there's a chainmail shot of me
Yeah.
or covered in chainmail, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that shot. Um, but yeah, there's a few where the makeup that was all just a little intense.
Yeah.
It's and you can find some photos out there that you're probably like interesting,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's ever been anything that's really that.
Has anyone ever like done a really horrible edit of you? Because like some people can't edit. Like it almost looks like they use an
Yeah,
Instagram filter where just all your
yeah.
skin is blurry, no detail.
And Ivan, this is why I choose a lot of the photographers I work with for Shutterfest. Like my after hours, I'm very, very selective
Yeah.
because I, you know, a lot of the photos you get during Shutterfest are from amateur photographers,
Sure.
and they're not going to be the best.
Sure.
There's going to be ones with my eyes half closed or me with one eye closed, and I'm like, what happened there? But that's the nature of the beast and the nature of learning
Yeah.
and growing from practicing. And I think it's important to still do it, and that's why I choose my outside ones have to be my favorites, because then I get to make some that I really love and make great artwork that I am appreciative of and get to enjoy. uh, so yeah.
Awesome. Well, if people want to follow you on social media, how should they do it? Instagram, I guess, is the best place.
Yeah, Instagram is the Violet D, and yeah, just Facebook is Violet Deardorff. So they can follow me anywhere.
Okay, I'll put the links down below so people can see it. But
Love it.
well, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me today.
Yeah,
I want to bring, like I said, a little light to the modeling, and um,
yeah,
because a lot of people are interested in modeling,
yeah,
and even photographers too. Really, it's for us. I think we need to learn more about the models as well, things that they have to go through, things that that we need to think about.
yeah,
How to approach a model. And
yeah. And I didn't even talk about that really. That is a big factor in, oh my goodness, this dog. Biggest factor in me reworking with photographers are the way that they treat me while we shoot.
yeah,
Um, and the way they treat everyone. I'm sure there is definitely a list of photographers that I don't feel safe working with, and that's okay. I'm not naming any names, but
Sure.
in the model community, it's known, and that is the biggest part about being a model is model safety. I think it's
Yeah.
the most important part. I mean, we can talk all day about us posing hands and,
Sure.
making sure you're looking at the light because, come on. But I think it's definitely model safety
Yeah.
because I've heard too many stories
Yeah.
of bad things happening. And I think
Sure.
that's a big thing that the community can take a step in working towards fixing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just models that need to worry about that. I mean, I think photographers, you guys know who they are too.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
yeah,
mean, here's the thing. I I'm part owner in an industrial construction company, and my studio, that
yeah,
space that I use, is there. Right
yeah,
now, being that, I am who I am, I have to worry about false claims. Like if I were to just have a model come out and then later on they make some false claim that I did something where I didn't,
mhm,
I could be, put in jail or go through, court
yeah,
or whatever, well, one, my photography business would probably be no more, nor would I
yeah,
probably want to do it after that. But
yeah,
so I always try to, be nice, courteous, and I always tell models, hey, once we get to talking, please bring a parent or bring a friend, a cheerleader, off to the
mhm,
side, rooting you on.
yeah, yeah,
Bring boyfriend, whoever, and but but I always tell people to bring friend, but I always try to have one person with me as well. I try to have
yeah,
like a friend of mine or an assistant, and usually the opposite sex.
yeah. I
So,
think that's
yeah,
for help. I think that's so necessary to, I mean, if you are, especially if you're just starting out, to bring a friend with you, bring someone that you can trust with you. Um, and yeah, yeah, it's a sad fact that it does happen, and even reported ones in the community are still highly active, and that's definitely disappointing.
yeah,
But yeah, I definitely think cameras also are definitely helpful. If you're operating a business, it's not a wrong thing to have.
yeah, yeah. Need almost like some kind of what is it? What is it? That kind of home fixer upper
Yeah.
website that, but it's like for photographers and models. We're like, don't do anything with that guy. He's only got like a 1-star rating or something like that.
Oh yeah. That's that would be hilarious. And maybe it needs to start. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I think, like you said, though, just talking to other, looking at the plethora of their work, but also talking to some of the models that they've worked with, just to be safe.
Yeah.
And yeah, having a friend go. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I mean, you should look at their work already to know you want to work with them. I've
sure,
seen that too. I've seen, models just mass shooting with whatever photographer they want. And I think that can be helpful maybe when you're starting out, but
sure. Start
definitely,
getting picky.
you know, yeah, get picky with it. If you want to grow and you want to get better with your skill, get a little pickier, find even goal photographers or goal brands. I mean, I have goal brands I would work for and definitely goal photographers that I want to work with. So I definitely think that's important to have.
Right, right. Everybody has a different style and technique, and um, I'm not, I always tell people I'm not going to be everybody's photographer. I do things a certain way, and sometimes it fits for this or that, but not everything, and I'm okay with it. A lot of times people ask me,
Yeah.
hey, do you shoot family pictures? In which I don't shoot family pictures. I don't shoot weddings, none of that, because that's just too damn stressful.
Mhm.
But I'm like, I don't really, I kind of like picking and choosing my jobs, really. And so, like, if it's a family photo thing, I'd be like, I'm really not the best person for that. But I
Yeah.
know other photographers who do, and so I usually give them at least three different photographers and links to their work so that they can talk to them. But
Yeah.
I hope they don't feel
And
bad
I
when I turn them
no,
down.
I wish more photographers did that. I wish more photographers would say no and give you a name of someone they recommend than say yes and do something poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think there's a lot of people that are willing to shoot whatever they want to shoot, and you can't do everything good.
Yeah.
You know,
They just
I can't do everything good. I'm not good at runway. I'm also too short, so it's there's 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 things you're good at, and I think
right.
people need to find their niches, their specialties.
Right. Well, it was awesome talking to you. I don't want to take any more of your time today.
Good. Yes, it was great talking and being here.
Yeah. Well, again, we need to shoot again at Shutterfest maybe next year, but I like to have a concept in mind and have a plan. I'm not going to teach next year. I'm going to keep my schedule clear. So
Yes, that would be great. We can. I'll steal you away for some shooting.
maybe
We'll actually get time.
if you get time.
No, more than 10 minutes for sure.
Yeah, that was stressful, but I think honestly that's what I needed. I didn't need more time. I just needed 10 minutes.
I mean, we can see the finished project, and no, you needed 10 minutes, and that was enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was fun.
Nice talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah, you take care, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.